So today I want to talk to you about how you sell your B2B product. There's a whole ton of thing that goes in selling your B2B SaaS application, especially if you're a new entrepreneur. It oftentimes it's hard because you don't really know where to start and how to go about things. The first point that you can start this process using some tools like Apollo.io. You can use it to prospect your customers, and they have some nice AI tools that tell about your business, your application, and it does most of the prospecting for you. Once you have list prepared, then you gotta come up with your own email sequence. Just try to make it as personalized as possible. Then you can build up your own email sequence there. So the first thing is you gotta prospect to your customers. You can do it easily through using something like Apollo.io. You can find out different people and their contact information and prepare a list of prospect customers that might actually buy your product. And the second point is you gotta craft a nice email and make sure you make it very personal. And then you can just initiate an email campaign for the ones that you prospected out. And then it's kind of like a waiting game. You can do some email automation and you can set it up, when to follow up and how to follow up, so that it just won't be like one-off email. They'll be contacted a couple of times before you figure out if they're interested or not. So that's one way of doing it. The other ways, of course, you can pick up the phone and dialing up and get in touch with those people. And cold calling is another great option. But for me personally, email marketing has been the best way out for me. I want to talk about how I built my Shapes app and grew 3,000 users within 3 weeks. It was insanely simple. I picked up a very niche. It was students, who are preparing for their exams. And I just come up with a nice interactive way to deal with those and make sure I did it in the MCQ format. And yeah, so number one is to pick out a smaller scope that you can attain within 2 to 3 weeks of development. And then it was about getting it designed, which I got enough help from my wife, who is a UX designer, and got it up and running. Once it was ready, I started jumping into development and got most of that done. So it was about then publishing it out. So once I published it, I ran a couple of ads on Facebook, and that was about it. How do you manage risks? Well, it's kind of a very sensitive topic because in startup world, most of the time you focus on building the product and getting it out. That should be your priority. But if you're at a stage where you have a few thousands of customers and you have something to lose, then you got to start worrying about these different risks out there. How important is operating lean when you're starting out? Looking at how people spend and throw away money on stupid shit. It's just horrendous. Spend millions, thousands of dollars upfront building the product without even knowing and validating. So how do you foster continuous learning and adoption within your teams? It's super important if you're especially in JavaScript world. There's something new every day. There's a new framework, a new library that comes up every now and then. So it's super important that you stay up to date. There are some awesome GitHub links that act as more of a catalog. Whenever there's like a new library that comes up, it'll just list it there. So you can just have a look at it and explore it out and see what's out there. Just don't really stick to one framework for a long time, even though that works. Try out different things.